Hi friends, Ode on a Grecian Urn. In this lecture, what I am trying to tell you is how John Keats anticipated T.S. Eliot way back 100 years back, so to say. Now you see what happens is, in his essay, Hamlet and his Problems, T.S. Eliot has said what objective correlative is. The only way of expressing emotion in the form of art is by finding an objective correlative. In other words, a set of objects, situations, a chain of events which shall be the formula for that particular emotion. And as you can see, the wasteland is, we have got a generous sprinkling of objective correlatives in the wasteland. So the sterile relationship between the typist and the landowner's clerk and so on. First 6 lines you have got half a dozen objective correlatives. Sterility, barrenness, to create that emotion. April is the cruelest month, etc., etc. Now here, when you read Ode on a Grecian Urn, what you find is, for first one, what you find is the urn itself is an objective correlative. See that the complex emotion of stasis, the feeling of being caught in a perfect moment that can never be fulfilled. Keats' objective correlative is the urn itself and also the engraved figures in that, the bold lover and the unattainable kiss. Keats focuses on the image of this carved image. The lover chasing the woman, the bold lover, never canst thou kiss, though winning near the goal. It is an objective correlative. For, as you can see, an objective correlative for an action, you can see the pattern, something that is attempted and versus, you can see the opposite of that is reality. Achieved. Something that is achieved and something that is not achieved. The moment before a triumph is more perfect than the triumph itself, because it contains infinite potential. So this is what we find here. The moment before a triumph, that is about to kiss, is more perfect than the triumph itself. Once you triumph, achieve something, then what happens? It is gone. But on the other hand, a moment before the triumph, the anxiety and the agony of achieving something, what happens is it has got immense potential. So that is the bold lover and his chase and his unattainable beloved and his inability to kiss, etc., are objective correlative for the complex emotion of stasis. There is a caught within stillness, you can see caught within movement. There is a stillness, but at the same time you feel the movement. A second one is, as you can, there are many, but I am just taking one or two. That is, you find the existential anxiety. The existential anxiety, objective correlative for that is the little town near the river or by the sea. That is silent and desolate. People, there are no people there. The town is empty because people have left for sacrifice. A frozen in a perfect artistic moment, and that is immortality. Suppose the town is full of people and they are engaged in their sacrificial offerings. It's all over. Again the point comes, a moment before achievement is greater than the achievement itself. That's what we say now. He was in a, what you can say, it's visual images you can see. Keats uses visual images, frozen gestures, silent stories. Beauty is timeless. The timelessness of beauty, the timelessness of desire, the timelessness of loss, the timelessness of frustration, that becomes immortality. I hope you understand. So immortality versus mortality. Or transience versus eternity. So that is, you find that little town is another objective correlative for perfection. That is, as I already told you, existential, the agony of existential, the agony and expectation of anticipation, or existential silence of the town. The existential silence of the town is again an objective correlative. As I already told you, if there are people moving here and there and busy and doing, engaged in exercise and things like that, then it's all over. See that? So here, another. The urn itself, as I have already told you, almost kiss. See? A youth about to play the pipe, the sacrificial possession, the eternal village frozen in time. The poet doesn't say, I feel sad. The poet doesn't say, I feel longing. But what does the poet do? The poet doesn't say, I feel the pain of desire. The poet doesn't say, the beauty of the moment I want to immortalize. But what does the poet do in this poem? A chain of events. A chain of events which shall be the formula for that particular emotion. These frozen images. Cold pastoral, unravished bride, silver historian. See? The silver historian, the unvarnished bride, unravished bride, and cold pastoral, etc. That itself is an objective correlative. What you find here is the agony of ecstasy, the agony and the ecstasy of anticipation. The whole poem is that. If you take image by image, the frozen images on this beautiful land, what you find is agony and ecstasy of anticipation. See, therefore what happens? Unheard melodies are sweeter. Once the melodies are heard, you enjoy, it's over. But the unheard melodies, the agony and the ecstasy of anticipation. The melodies are not heard, so you are anticipating, expecting. The melodies are not heard, so there is a kind of aching. Listen. So, poet doesn't say, Keats doesn't say, I have that, my heart is feeling that agony, or I am suffering from that, nothing of that sort. He presents before us a series of images, a chain of events, as is Eliot said. And that is a set of objects, a situation, a chain of events, which shall be the formula for that particular emotion. And what is that particular emotion? Particular emotion is immortality of art. And breathing passions always decay. Breathing passions means expressed feeling. So once your passion is expressed, then it is over. But on the other hand, you have got that attempt. That attempt is full of potential. So to present this idea before us, what Keats has done is, he has presented before us a set of objects, situations, and a chain of events. Understand? Forever, but that's the point. So here what happens is, then he says at the end of this, therefore he says, beauty is truth. Therefore, what is that therefore? Presenting before you, or before us, before the reader, this set of images, set of objects, set of situations, that shall be the emotion to be expressed. The poet, in fact, there is also depersonalization of art. The poet is not present there. Understand? Escaped. It is an escape from personality, not an expression of personality. That famous essay, tradition and the individual talent. In fact, both these, objective, correlative, as well as tradition and ideas and the tradition and individual talent, John Keats anticipated in 1890. That is about 100 years back, more than 100 years back, isn't it? Yes. So that's what I want to present before you today. And once again you can see the complex emotional stasis, bold lover and his unattainable kiss. Anticipation versus reality. The moment before triumph has greater potential. 3. Immortality of art. A little town, silent and desolate, people left for sacrifice. That means, again you see there is some expectation. 4. The air itself, visual images, frozen justice, silent story, timelessness of art, beauty, desire, loss, frustration. Motion trapped in silence, stillness. Agony and ecstasy of an anticipation. Existential silence of the town. The youth and his unheard melodies. So beauty is truth, truth beauty. Not only set of images, not only no I, there's no I in the poem, see? But only a set of images, that is objective correlatives. A friend man forever challenging human decay and breathing passions. A friend man, so that is the emotion to be conveyed, and he has very successfully and brilliantly conveyed that emotion. The Sylvan historian, cold pastoral, unravished bride, permanence of art, transience of life, immortality. So these are the ideas expressed in the poem, and that is done through a series of situations, objects, and a chain of events. Ultimately, the ultimate statement that Keats wants to make is breathing passions decay, or expressed emotions decay, but anticipated emotions have great potential. Here you have got all the frozen images are anticipated images. Therefore what happens? They are immortal. They will never die. Permanent. So permanence of art and transience of life. That is the conclusion. And therefore, since art is permanent, beauty is truth, art is truth, and truth beauty, and truth beauty. I think I have tried to explain these points clearly to you. Bye.